Hello, fellow traveler. Welcome to Timeless Tarot. We're going to get right into this reading. We generally skip the intros nowadays. I don't see a point to wasting anyone's time with them. So let's get going. Okay. What we're going to do today is 4 cards, pick a card, and we're going to have 4 hidden cards. 4 hidden cards for each reading. So, 1 hidden card for each reading. 4 hidden cards for each card. So this is the hidden card. What we're going to do is those cards are going to be revealed at the end of each reading, giving you some kind of additional insight. So it might be something that completes a puzzle that we're trying to figure out. It could also be some clarification, or it could just be confirmation of something that's already rather obvious in the reading. But we will see, because for now, it's an unknown mystery. We have the Knight of Cups for reading number 1. For reading number 2, we have Temperance. Okay, let's keep going. For reading number 3, we have the Artist, an Oracle card. Cool cards. And for pile number 4, we have 6 of Cups. Okay, so I will give you a moment to take a look at these cards, and whatever you feel resonates with you the strongest is where you should go. You'll have like a gut feeling, perhaps. You'll see something and it'll be like, that's where I should go, and you'll go with it. Or sometimes you might think about the meaning behind each card. If you're familiar with tarot, the Oracle card of the Artist is its own thing, and it's kind of what you'd imagine. It's dreaming the future. It's trying to create what you envision through what you want your human condition to be like. So you dream up your world that you want to live in, and you try to create it. And it's kind of the artist's journey in many ways, trying to create that world that is full of beauty and aligned with the view that they see from within. Okay. Interesting. Let's try to get this lined up so I can use it as a thumbnail. I might have to take new photos, but we'll see. It looks pretty good to me. What do you think? Pretty lined up. Okay, so at this point, quick reminder, please subscribe to this channel, because that helps this channel grow. Considering it's so new, it's very beneficial and helpful for us, and greatly appreciated. Also, leave a comment and say hello. I'd love to talk. Okay, I'm always chatting in the comments. Great. Let's start with group number 1. Hello, group number 1. Welcome to your reading. You chose the Knight of Cups. Okay. So perhaps there's some form of energy in your life related to someone who's playful, artistic, enthusiastic, charismatic in some way. I always see this character here. It can be embodiment of yourself, or a representation of someone who's having a deep impact in your life. So it could be one or the other. But what I would say is that for me, I always kind of imagine this character as a musician or a performer, someone who can connect to an audience in some way. Okay. So in the current position, we have the 5 of Cups. So you might be feeling disappointed about something. You might be thinking about a loss of some sort. One of those situations where you have this character here, he is, looking at these cups that have fallen and spilled in front of him, but behind him are 2 cups. So there is a silver lining in whatever it is you're thinking about right now. This came from having come from a creative position. This is one where we have the Empress. So the Empress is one of connection to nature and of abundance, of creation, in some ways like giving birth to something. Can be, in some cases, pregnancy. In the past, okay, so coming together again, we have the Emperor and Empress. Interesting. So romance might be on the mind of some sort, kind of the yin and yang, some kind of dynamic with you and somebody else from the past. So you might be embodying one or the other. In this case, you might be more commanding, or you might be more intuitive and creative and nurturing. Whichever one it is, the other one is there too. So this is some kind of, perhaps it's a breakup. Okay, only because we have the 5 of Cups, but this might be something where it might not necessarily be for the worse. This could be just, a real meeting of the minds, though. 2 really capable people who are emotionally mature, really just having this conversation about like what's working and what isn't. Perhaps it's one of those things where you were hoping for something more traditional, but or someone's kind of demanding a more traditional role or a more traditional situation, in which case you're gonna have to choose either to go into that traditional role with them, whatever it may be. I mean, this could be maybe someone wants to like say, hey, like let's like date exclusively. Let's make sure this is like proper. We're not going to live together until we're married, kind of situation. Or it could be something where it's a more traditional, like maybe you were dealing with, if this is more of like a career finance orientation, it could be one of those things where you're working with a partner who works really well together, but now they're like, look, we need to establish like laid out guidelines and milestone time frames. We're going to need to like start signing contracts because like we need to make sure that this is like official, like it's a more officiated situation. And that kind of thing is one where you have to either choose that or not. Okay. Either go, okay, we're going to agree to this, or we're going to have to go back to either negotiate or just walk away, you know? Ooh. I literally said walk away as we have a walk away card. We have the 8 of Cups. I mean, that's walking away, guys. I don't really have much else to say about that. You're proposed a traditional situation. There's a very strong chance that you might walk away from it. But the choice is always yours, honestly. Like, this is just, obviously, with tarot, we're talking symbols, okay? And symbols can go in many different directions. So feels like a very strong one of walking away. Where you're sad, but you know you have to do it once this kind of ultimatum is handed down. This feels like an ultimatum here. There's some joy that's missing in this thing. This was a very beautiful connection. Absolutely beautiful. It's one where it was like pretty much perfect. You had simultaneously like aligned visions of the future, very comparable energies where both of you had, you were a good match. And then there's this kind of disappointment through an ultimatum of tradition, and it leads to walking away. I'm not sure. This doesn't necessarily mean it's like an actual breakup, but it could be maybe walking away from this ultimatum. Relationships, obviously, I'm not. There's no way a card can dictate your relationships, although this is just a very strong story, which is why I'm going with it. Very strong symbols. Through disappointment and ultimatum leading to walking away. But how can we interpret that in a softer way? Because we're not, obviously, this is a broad reading. So if there's a strong connection, take it with you. But if not, we got to let it like float. I mean, we're going to clarify this, so don't need to tell a story with 5 cards. We're getting 15, at least. More like 17, actually. But on the mind, this is like all in the mind. So this is very talked through. This is intellectual. This is involving some kind of networking or like connection with communication. Like you're dealing with groups, and it's very clear and concise communication when this story passes through. So we do have this like a choice to be made. Really surveying the landscape. You're kind of realizing already that the choice, if this ultimatum comes, would be one of walking away. There was some kind of disappointment. You might have either disappointed yourself, or if you're embodying the masculine energy, you probably disappointed the feminine energy. If you're the feminine energy, you're more just disappointed, okay? There's a commitment that the masculine energy, and honestly, this can go either way, whether or not, it doesn't matter what gender of the person we're talking about. This is the energies that are being embodied here. The commanding energy will most likely be the one dictating a formal agreement. The more masculine energy will be the one trying to advocate for tradition, but it could be coming from someone who's female. You might be embodying the more feminine, the uncertain energy. It's a kind of mixed bag here. This could also, we could also see this as a transition mentally, but I would say that there is some kind of masculine presence influencing the feminine energy within oneself. Okay, there was a commitment, a focus on commitment. And real, I'm going to say, this was not a bad relationship, but definitely one where there was a lot of emotional back and forth. A lot of emotion was being put into this relationship to strengthen it, to forge it. It was like a lot of work. I mean, it might have been one of those things where it's like it's worth it, but like at the end of talking with this other person, you're just drained. Okay. But in some ways that's kind of good. It's like it's really strengthened you. But it's making you rethink things. There's a lot of wands and swords here. It's kind of interesting. Yes, so far we have oh no, we do have some cups. Okay, so we do have some emotional passive. Yeah, we do have the emotional moving on kind of. Okay, so we do have an end. So it's an end. There might be some kind of thought of traditional path that's going to be blocked or let go of, or like kind of no, like saying goodbye to this traditional vision of what was going to happen, moving past it. I mean, this could have been an ultimatum as well. But now I'm actually kind of seeing this might have been hope for tradition on the mind. So it might not have been an ultimatum by the masculine. It could have been a hope of the feminine. Either one, honestly. Normally, if it's coming from the masculine, it would be mostly like at least the emperor. It would kind of be this way or the highway. We're gonna do it this way or not, right? And then it's up to you how to respond to that. Doesn't necessarily mean that is the only two options, but that is how it's going to be presented by this guy, by this person, by the empress. It will be more so just kind of dreaming of hoping for a traditional path towards this kind of unity, but it has to be walked away from. The idea of it has to be walked away. Not necessarily the situation itself. However, the situation itself does come to some form of conclusion because we have the Ten of Swords leading to the Queen of Swords, interestingly enough. So you have this kind of concept of surveying the landscape, letting go of traditional dreams or traditional a traditional solution or a traditional path, in order to come to being more ready within oneself and more capable. This is an interesting dynamic because it feels like this letting go of it is not necessarily going to end a relationship, but could be ending the understanding both have of how the relationship's going to play out. Okay, so that's kind of an interesting change, where like now you are going to be more assured, and actually in some ways this is good. Maybe it's kind of you're letting go of some dreams, but you're realizing, well, this is where this stands, this is where the relationship stands. I want to say this is more relationship and emotional because we picked the Knight of Cups, but if we are gonna, I like to try to bring in a bunch of different ideas here. So if this is a career money track, this can be like, okay, so this partner wanted, it doesn't want this to be informal anymore, or they want it to be informal. There's like a kind of, that's kind of the crux here, is this informal versus formal, this traditional versus non-traditional kind of pendulum polarity. One party wants one, the other party wants the other. Like the Empress wants one, the Emperor wants the other. It could go either way in this case. How they're approached is how they're going to be different. But moving forward, knowing, well, where each person stands is going to lead to having much more intuitive understanding of how things are going to need to move forward. And right now you're kind of in the surveying the situation stage. You might be thinking through something. Someone said something, or you said something to somebody, and now there's kind of this moment where you're kind of not happy with the fact that we have to pause and wait, because that's a sign that it's, both parties aren't exactly on the same page. Okay. Whew. Well, we got through that. This feels like an emotional situation. And I was going to think it was lighthearted because we started with the Knight of Cups, but, music, maybe listen to some music that gives you like strength and energy. Okay, we have an extra card, so we'll do this bonus card before we do the hidden card. Okay. So clarifying the Five of Cups and the Two of Wands, we have the Two of Cups. So within you feel like there's such a strong connection with this person, this group or this pairing. this relationship is a very comparable one. It's one of those like matches, I want to say match made in heaven almost, like kind of like where like you both are on the same level in some ways. Okay, so there's this patience in the past. There was this commitment, this feeling of like a lot of work. There's a release. You were letting go of other options. I think there was some commitment involved here, like with this person in the past. It could be continuing though. I do see this as a continuing relationship. Okay, and we're going to continue on into, okay, so this is going to be a little bit of a heartbreak moment. Interesting. So this was actually a divide. Some kind of the two of you really are not on the same page, and there's a letting go, but there's a new emotional beginning with an empowerment now. So for some of you, this could be a breakup. I wasn't thinking it was a breakup until this card comes out here, right after Two of Cups with this. So like this feels like a breakup. Some people, like I said, this is not destined for you, okay? This is a symbol reading, right? I do pure symbol readings. These are broad readings. Take what resonates, leave the rest behind, let them float on by. But here we have this kind of situation where there is now an understanding here. There's an understanding that both parties are not on the same page. It's aligned. This disagreement has something to do with tradition versus non-tradition, or tradition versus new, less like a more loose, less formal versus formal. And one wants to commit to a formal, one wants the relationship but less formal, okay? And then that's leading to a parting of ways of some sort, either letting go of the hope for either you give into this kind of whatever the other party wants, or you have to renegotiate the relationship some way. That can either mean parting ways or finding common ground. You can't just acquiesce to whatever somebody else wants without bringing what you need to the table and finding something that works for both of you, okay? Don't just like, if someone's like, I want it this way, and you're like, okay, fine, just to stay in the relationship. That doesn't normally work out in the long term, okay? Eventually something has to give. So this needs to be renegotiated completely in some way. And in many ways it means letting go of something. Could be letting go of the idea of what it once was going to be. But what happens with that letting go mentally comes with a rejuvenation of emotion, because we have the Ace of Cups within after the heartbreak. So like what's interesting is that there's this really trying to make this thing work. It doesn't work out, but there's like this strength from you, because this is you in the future. This is your feelings in the future. These are your thoughts in the future. So we have this sense that emotionally, this is a new, fresh start, a new emotional start that's going to really help you, that's going to command, that's going to drive your commanding presence of your ability to intuitively make the best decisions for yourself moving forward after having realized what it is that you want and what you're going to need to look for in somebody else moving forward before getting too committed. Okay, that's kind of like what's happening here. It's like, oh wow, like a lot was aligned initially, and I thought I had everything on this, like I thought we're all on the same page. Now I'm realizing that either the timeline is not the same, the expectations of what the commitment means is not the same, the idea of what traditional is not the same. Those things, these words are going to need to be fleshed out. We're going to need to hear real concrete details about what it is that each person needs and wants. And now you're going to realize, well, those are some things I'm going to need to really bring up to the forefront, and not in a resentful way in the future. It's not like, I see some of these memes where you have these dating memes where like the two people on a date sit down and one just starts like reading out a laundry list of saying, okay, here are all the things that would disqualify you. Let's just get these out of the way. I'm not talking about that kind of attitude at all. I actually think that's very harmful. I think we still need a chance to get to know each other and understand each other's energies before we jump into, do you fit the exact bill of what I'm looking for? But what this is something where you can say, you can almost broadcast with this. This is like, I'm looking for this. And you put that out there. You can actually kind of say, this is what I'm looking for as part of your next, perhaps date, perhaps relationship or partnership in career. Yeah, this is interesting. I don't see this as like, okay, so we have the Five of Wands here, which is like, the figures all with their wands, kind of like almost fighting, or like in a almost like a cartoonish like dog pile kind of fight. It's not exactly that though. It could be their training. It could be a debate. It could be one of those things where there's just a lot of work that has to be put, a lot of like attention to detail, and effort put into this situation. Okay, well, I mean, this is an interesting story. This is one that seems very clear cut to me. We're going to, I mean, it really is just a disagreement of either the interpretation of tradition or actual beliefs in tradition itself, and how you can align that moving forward. And here we're going to have, and sometimes it means letting go. I mean, that's just kind of the end story here, but we still have one more card here that might clarify something, and I'd like to see it, and I'm sure you do too. Okay, so a new character comes in here. We have the King of Wands now. Okay. So the King of Wands is charismatic, the symbol of creative hustler energy, kind of starts their own businesses. If they do work in an office, they're someone who is very creatively solving problems in a way that's intuitive and like they can, well, it's just a lot of drive and charisma, really. So cool. I mean, that might be someone who's coming in now that you're opening yourself up to a new energy. It could be something that you find within yourself moving forward. Maybe it's something, if you're leaving a partnership in career or finance, it could be something that you're embodying, or it could be a new partnership coming in who's going to bring in more prosperity. It could just be in love, some new effort or charisma that you hold with your ability to make decisions, or it could embody the person who's coming into your life now that you've opened yourself and your heart up again. This could also be the person who comes into your life, and this could be what you're embodying, since these are energies that can flow back and forth. But beautiful. I mean, there's a bright, sunny feeling inside here where there's a new emotional energy in the future, and one of real command and presence coming in the future. So while this might feel like a lot of hardship right now, you're growing into someone with much more strength, much more resilience, and a new outlook within, some kind of new sense of well-being that allows you to really be assured in what you're looking for. And that's beautiful. And I commend you. Group number 1. Whew, this has been a journey. Subscribe to me to see more of me in the future. Subscribe to this channel to see more of me of the future. Thank you. And I will see you later. Take care. Hey, group number 2. How you doing today? Welcome to your reading. We're going to get right into this. No sense in delaying this. Let's just jump right in. That feels like it should go here. I don't know why, but it does. Okay. I'm just letting my intuition guide these drawings. Normally I have a pattern to it, but we didn't go in that pattern today. Okay, so you chose Temperance, one of my favorite cards in this deck in terms of its artistic quality. It's very beautiful. So let's take a look at it just so we can take a look. And we won't forget about this hidden card underneath, this mystery extra message at the end of the reading. Okay, just a beautiful card. Like so much of the foil in the wings, I think that is brilliant. Okay, so let's take a look. What's on your mind? Well, interestingly enough, from last reading, this was a very important card, but it was in a very different position. A new emotional start's on your mind. Okay, so maybe, and it has something to do with having thought about tradition. Perhaps you just watched the last reading and you wanted to see more. Or not. No, but we do have some new stuff here. Okay, good. We have the Fool, which is one of my favorite cards of the deck and is the first card you will see in a tarot card deck. It is the 0 of the major arcana. It is the beginning and end of a story. It is the sense and willingness to continue on and to try new, again, knowing how it has caused pain. You felt pain, loss, all of that in the past. The full range of human condition. You also felt love, compassion, drive, brilliance, joy. All of it is possible within your new adventure, and you chose to take a new one on. You are willing to put yourself into that vulnerable but beautiful role of being brand new in a situation, okay? And it's leading to some kind of traditional situation, which has now led to thoughts of emotion and thoughts of how to... Okay, so we're going from 1 to 2. So we have Ace of Cups to Two of Cups. Interesting. A new emotional thought, a thought of how you are emotionally involved in a situation from having left or having moved through, doesn't mean you've left it, but having moved through a traditional role of some form, a traditional thought process of some form. And then we have this kind of moving into letting some energy go so that it may come back to you in the future situation, some kind of dynamic where you're watching the energy flow forward and you're allowing it to move past for a few different reasons. One can be to allow yourself to see where this energy goes or see where these friends go. Perhaps someone's going on a trip and you're like, I'll let you go first. It's kind of we'll make a joke here. It's kind of in those movies where they have to explore the dark path or they have to go through the doorway and the one character turns to the other and just goes, you go first. That's kind of some of the energy here. It's like that idea where you're allowing something to move forward so you can see where it goes. Perhaps it will come back. Perhaps it continues on. Whatever that may be, it's part of having explored the landscape and you're almost testing it a little bit. You're kind of putting something out there and seeing what happens. Okay. Interesting. There's some new, this is a new start in your mind, at least this thought process. A lot of new fresh starts here because you have the Fool and the Ace of Cups. And we're dealing with Temperance here, which is transformation through patience, through understanding of transmutation, of being able to bring one energy from one state into another. Perhaps a great example of Temperance in some ways is someone who's angry about a situation that will go to the gym and like exercise really hard. That's a more masculine form of that, but it's a very easily understood one. You're transforming one energy into another, right? Perhaps you're nervous about something, so you clean your room. That's kind of a more easy, probably more broad example. Okay, and this one's extra too. You know what? We did this last time for last reading, so you get an extra as well. Okay, so while this is on your mind, what's going on with you yourself? The you. Well, you got some friend group things, friend dynamics going on, okay? Or you're very split and chaotic in thought. But I don't think that's it. I think you have some friends situations happening right now. You might have felt trapped in this traditional role in the past. There was a joyful new romance or newfound love that you were willing to be vulnerable for in the past. Got trapped in some form of traditional situation, led to friend group bringing in new emotional states or thoughts of new emotions. And then we have the world. Well, okay, we have the beginning and the end here. The real big ones. So now I'm starting to see seeing these two cards out at once. There's some big things coming, big transformations coming in your life. Okay, and then we have the Knight of Pentacles, clarifying the Three of Wands. So some kind of like being a little bit more guarded after having experienced quite a big event. Quite a big event with friends. Okay, I'm just gonna like not say anything yet. But I don't want to jinx anything, but we'll see. If a card comes out involving habits, I will say, let's say, going out with friends and drinking, kind of thing, could lead to you realizing it's time to stop. That's one thought there. That's one track. Like I said, this is probably that's not for everyone at all. But this is a tricky card. I think it seems happy, but I feel like it comes with a few caveats that you need to be wary of. Just be careful when there's friend groups influencing you. Make sure it's your true higher self that's doing the decision making and not someone else's decision making for you. Okay, let's just say that. Cool. And if there's a moment where you normally rely on someone else to like jump in and like handle situations, sometimes it might be you who should be doing it. Okay. You're stable. Okay, you're stable. You have Four of Wands, so you are someone who will, stand up and say, you know what, let's do something different if you feel like it. Yeah, you're strong. Okay, you're internally very strong. So you're fine. You're fine. We're good here. There was some disappointment, or there was feeling of being disappointed that was worrying you, but you still work, allowing yourself to open your heart and be vulnerable and be part of a new relationship or reinvigorate. Okay, so there is, look at this end of cycle, big end of cycle though. Perhaps it's already like, what's happening. Yeah, there's a lot of choices too, emotional choices. Interesting. Okay. So what I see here, I was fearful of going in one direction, and I'm glad I didn't, because, let's just see this card. Okay, good. So what we're seeing here is something more like, you're fine. This is not I was getting ahead of myself here. What we're seeing here is you having decided to really put yourself into a new emotional state of mind, one where you are opening your heart, you're being vulnerable in a good way, where you understand that, like, you might not be, you might feel a little trapped in like traditional roles, but at the same time, like through talking with friends and finding a new emotional like mind, you're going to find a way to really balance yourself, and finish this transformation that you chose to take on. Okay, there's a transformation you're choosing to take on, and it's going to complete, and you're committing to it emotionally and within, and you are really resilient and you're ready to go with it. You might have talked to a few people about it, and you're moving forward. Okay, this is a different story than I was worried about. From this internal line was very strong and comes out with way more of a rebirth, of a kind of remaking yourself situation, where you're one who's going to be very intelligently guarding your energy, but also being one who's wears their heart on their sleeve in some ways. And you're going to have a lot of choices, emotional choices to make, but that's okay. Your mind is going to be a little bit more, you're not going to be as sure of yourself moving forward after this transformation, but that's because you're a new person. You have transformed, okay? And there is this sense, this pairing of these two knights here. We have the Knight of Pentacles and we have the Knight of Wands. So like charismatic energy versus slightly guarded but wise. I'm getting a call very late. A wise balance of knowing where to put your energy and how to protect it. I'm going to pause for a second. Ooh, static shock. Okay, so that was quite a lot of interesting things that just happened. I just got a random call from a number that started with 88. It could be +8. It could be China, because +8, I believe, is China's international code. It was obviously a spam call, but what was very interesting is like it was +88, and then I zap myself on the table when I sit down. A static shock. It's dry out. It's cold, so sometimes I don't know. I'm kind of weird. Like I get a lot of static energy sometimes, and like I'll touch something and then discharges. If that happens to you, let me know, because that's not everyone does that. It's like interesting. I seem to be one of the bigger culprits of that. But we have this charismatic energy of somebody who knows how to move drive and motivation, and then you have someone who knows how to implement their energy and guard their energy, protect their energy, not so much where to put it, but more so when to guard it and when to let it flow. So that kind of it's an interesting pairing here. Kind of neat. Okay, I didn't forget about your hidden card. That was just interesting. Normally spam calls tend to be blocked late at night, but that one got through. Interesting. Okay. And there's a choice to be made. So whatever this has to do with, there's a big choice to be made involving where you put your time and effort. Okay. And you're someone who's really committed to being a new person, transforming yourself. Perhaps you realized there was just a way of being in the past that wasn't working. When I saw these 3 of Cups and the Ace of Cups, I got a little worried because I thought maybe something popped out that would show like more of a habit forming kind of thing. I was going down a path that and getting ahead of myself. What I see more so is that you're talking with friends and you're with friends, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. The 3 of Cups can be very good. It could be a reunion of some sort, but you're discussing options here. And it does have something to do with perhaps moving on with how you relate to people in a very, you might have making a concerted effort or a strong decision to, really just, protect yourself, but also be open when you see it's right and you've experienced a new way of looking at things. You're a very strong person and you are transforming quite dramatically moving forward. So, yeah, look at that. You got the world here. The world's at your feet too. You're going to be much more capable now, and you're going to make the right decisions because you're someone who's maturing, who's learning the right path, and you're walking it, and that's beautiful. Group number 2. I wish you the best on your journey. Please subscribe to this channel to see more of me in the future. I will see you soon. Take care. Hey, group number 3. Welcome to your reading. You chose the artist and your hidden card. And I'll be honest with you guys, I cheated on you guys. I might have peaked. I didn't peak for the other 2 readings. I don't know why I peaked for this one. I just peaked. Man, I'm sorry. I'm going to be like that annoying person now who's like, oh, I can't wait to, I'm not going to show you until the end. I'm not. But I'm going to be like that annoying person who already saw a movie and like drags you to the movie and is going to be like, oh, you got to wait for this part. This is the part. I just know it. I'm going to say something that's going to be so annoying. You guys are going to hate me. Please still subscribe and like me. I'm sorry. Okay. I should not have looked. I don't normally do that. Are you someone who like reads the end of a book before you actually read the book? I'm giving you an extra one because I feel bad. And I don't know what this one is, so we're even, okay? Okay, we want to pop all of these cards open. Okay, so you're trapped in something in your mind. You're kind of stuck in something. But there's going to be a new start soon. Don't worry about that. Okay, so we have the 8 of Swords with the Fool. But preceding that comes Strength. So you were strong and kind of putting up with a lot. You were kind of putting up with a lot. You were very patient. But you're starting to get fed up with something, and you're ready for some new start to your life in some way. Some real foundational start. It has something to do with relationships. Okay. But you're a creative person. I mean, you have to be. You chose the artist, right? We'll reveal these 2 at the same time, so like we're even. Because I feel like it's like out of balance with me knowing what's the card is. Okay. Okay, and well, actually this one was like, hey, I'd rather come out. And this one too. Okay. We're giving you a lot of bonus. I'm being extra nice. I'm spoiling you guys. I am spoiling you. All right. I'm not spoiling you. I'm giving you an extra card. Okay, we have the Hangman. Okay, this is interesting. These 2 together generally work together very strongly. This is a sense of feeling in some way trapped, but you are the one who's choosing to stay in your position, okay? You feel stagnant. You do. There was a nurturing situation in the past, and you're strong. You're nurturing some, I want to say, relationship, and you are someone who has that, and very aware of that warmth, that light within. You are someone who has that like glowing warmth and that you can share with people. Your heart is overflowing in some ways. Okay. But there is this unknown. Okay. Something is unknown and that's bothering you. But you're ready. You are going to be ready. Maybe you're not ready yet. You still feel trapped. But you're going to be ready for a new start very soon. Very soon you're ready. And it involves relationships. There's some unknown that's going to lead you. Well, maybe actually it's that you've decided you're going to go on a new adventure, but you're not sure where it is yet. Oh, you want to travel the world, though. Okay. You want to travel. But like, what's this vision? I think it's like, where do you go is kind of the question. It could be anywhere, right? It's like, it could be anywhere in the world. It's like, just spin a globe and like, throw a dart wherever it is, right? Okay, I want to say that you were putting in a lot of effort into a relationship. You don't want to leave it, but you want some more space, okay? Right now, you want more space, and part of that comes with you wanting to kind of go on your own somewhere. Maybe not on your own, but you want to go somewhere. You just want a change of settings, I guess, is really the important part of this. You might go with whoever it is that, you have a relationship with. I mean, you are someone who's very, like, abundant emotionally, someone who can provide that caring, nurturing side. You can really be the person who, tends to someone's wounds, or like, you might be a very feminine energy. Someone who really is caring. Okay. Someone who, like, as a guy, I kind of think of it as like, I hate doing this. I shouldn't do this, but like as some kind of like, when the masculine's wounded, this comes out from you, and you're able to heal. You're a very strong healer. You're feeling pride that might be keeping you in place. You were surveying where you want to go next. You were feeling like looking, where do you want to go next? There was some new idea that's driving you into this feeling of stagnancy. It's kind of interesting. Your desire to move is like what's kind of trapping you. Okay. Being a little protective, a little guarded. Maybe you're just not sure where you want to go because you're kind of a little nervous, Where do you want to go with this? It's kind of where it might not be traveling itself, because I don't see a lot. I mean, there's 2 of Wands here, but it might not necessarily be traveling so much as changing your position in a situation. And then there's this feeling, there's going to be an emotional commitment to really realizing you have all of the choices within you. You can move forward, and you are going to be aligned in your thought. Like, this is actually, I'm seeing this now with the commitment and the world and the 2 of Cups. Your thoughts are aligning so that you know where you want to go, and you're committing to a new path, emotionally committing to a new path. And this could be a spiritual path. It could be a creative path. It could be one where you were at one point thinking you wanted to be an illustrator, and now, this is just, I know this for a fact. You have, like, this is something that's happening. You have the illustrator, but now you see AI is kind of like able to do half of what you would like to do. So you're like, well, maybe I should focus more on creative singing or like music, or I should focus more on just painting and just having more abstract thoughts and just being more, even more chaotic in some ways, but more creative output in some ways, focusing more on my intuitions and my emotional paths, and just kind of going with that rather than this more sketching kind of maybe more technical in nature path. Or it could be something with relationships where, you're nurturing this person, you're with somebody, but part of you just wants to kind of go in a new direction, whether or not be with them or not, but a new direction in some way. It could be a new direction just within yourself and how you think about how you relate to people. Maybe you want to like join some kind of yoga practice or a joint meditation or something like that. Connecting more on a group level in some ways, I would say. It doesn't necessarily mean you're leaving anybody or anything. It's just you're a very nurturing person, and you realize you can take this in a new direction. This nurturing energy in a new direction. Okay. And you're going to be very, you're going to be resolved. You're going to be very sure about it. Okay. But what is going to spur this on, and I'm leading this one because I saw the card already. We're going to reveal, and then we'll reveal the other 2. There's a tower. Okay, I saw the tower. I peeked. So there's something shocking that's leading you into this kind of like, actually, I want to join a club kind of feeling. Okay. Why do I say club? I guess the world, pairing of energies, commitment. The club just feels intuitive. I don't know, it just kind of popped in my mind. You want to join like some kind of community. You're feeling like there needs to be more people involved in this situation. You're a very strong individual, one who has that internal light, and you want to share it with the world, okay? So there's a shocking moment, though, that's going to reveal something that leads you towards committing to this. But let's see what else we have here. Okay, transformation, rebirth, and Queen of Wands. So a sense of confidence, a sense of creative drive, and also a little bit of competitive nature, okay? You're going to be nurturing not only your emotional side, but you're also going to be in some ways with this new transformation, nurturing your active side, okay? I'll say almost like joining like a marathon. Okay. So, group number 3. Apologies for sneaking a peek on this card. I'm gonna try not to do it for the last reading, but No promises. But I hope you enjoyed this reading. If you did, please leave a comment and let us know what kind of group are you considering joining. Is it maybe a fraternity or sorority? Some kind of professional guild of some sort? Maybe like, I don't know, like some kind of, it feels like more like group unity is coming in for you, group number 3. And I would love to hear more about it. Sounds fascinating, really. Cool. Great. Please subscribe to see more of me in the future. Take care. Hey, group number 4. How you doing? You chose the 6 of Cups, and I did not peek. If you were watching group number 3, I accidentally, well, not accidentally. Oh, look at that. Okay. I felt just like I just wanted to see the card, and I peeked for group number 3. I didn't peek for the hidden cards for the other 2. I don't know why. And I didn't peek for you guys either. So I do not know what's in underneath this card, and that makes 2 of us. Okay, well, keep getting some glitches in the camera, but let's move on and see what's in your reading. We had this Ace of Cups kind of just deciding it wanted to be seen. So this could be a new emotional start to how you relate to some kind of past event. Okay, because it seems like you're reminiscing to some degree. Okay. Let's see what we got here. So for the first card we're revealing, we see the moon. So if there's something you're thinking about that you can't quite articulate. In the past, we have the 7 of Swords. So someone might have, in some ways, you're thinking about an event where maybe a friend kind of turned around and did something that felt hurtful. There were some choices, and there was also some kind of like mask involved here. There's a lot of choices to be made, and none of them felt like the good one or a right path. And part of that was because there's a sense that everyone involved wasn't necessarily, they weren't revealing themselves fully. They weren't being authentically themselves, and it could be, I mean, not to judge. I mean, sometimes we do this when we just don't feel comfortable, or we've kind of become used to just kind of putting on a mask when we're out in public. And I mean that metaphorically, not so much like the past few years. I mean more just like, when someone goes, hey, how's it going? You go, oh, great, thanks. How are you? Oh, great to see you. It's like, how are you doing? That kind of stuff. That's the mask, right? Like, because maybe you're going through a tough day, and someone goes like, I haven't seen you forever, how you doing? All high energy, and you're like, good, how are you? It's like, not good, but hey, I can't say I'm doing terrible right now, because the energy's in the other direction. That's the mask. It's kind of you putting on a show, but it's not necessarily bad. It's like how we kind of grease the wheels in many ways. But that led to some kind of subterfuge, some kind of hidden behavior, and you're thinking about it now. You're kind of thinking and you're trying to articulate it. In the future, we have some kind of commitment because we have the 6 of Swords leading to 7 of Pentacles, which is actually kind of a nice thing to see. It's like a mental commitment to some thought or ordeal, and then followed up by like actually seeing a little bit of progress in having committed. You committed to something and you put in effort, and we're seeing just constant growth, constant commitment. This is good. We're getting there. We're moving ahead. Okay, so there's this kind of hidden knowledge kind of situation, reminiscing about past situations that were a little less positive, but then moving forward and committing to an ordeal. Maybe kind of looking yourself in the mirror and be like, what kind of person do I want to be? And you're like, you know what? I'm going to commit to the person I actually do think is the best person for me to be. That kind of feeling, because we have this emotional fresh start, which is good because we have the Ace of Cups that popped out before we saw anything else. The Ace of Cups was like, hey, this is a good thing. We are growing here. Okay, cool. And we have cards flying out. I'm terrible at shuffling, if you haven't noticed. I'm not a good card dealer. I don't do any magic tricks generally. When anything pops out and looks cool, it's completely accidental. Okay, we're getting some extra cards here, a lot of extra cards. So we'll just put this one here, and we'll see what fell on the ground. Okay. They fell face down. I did not see them, so we'll add them to these bonus cards underneath the Ace of Cups. And we will not forget about our final bonus card underneath the Six of Cups. Okay. So this is some emotional relationship stuff. Ooh, you're someone who took on a lot of responsibility in the past, for sure. There was a new venture, a new action, some kind of new routine you had started recently, and you committed to it. You perhaps started to go to the gym. I'm gonna say this is something, or you started some kind of maybe like intermittent fasting, something like that. But you're really committing to it now. You let go of some habit in the past that was not aligned with your true self. Because we have the devil leading to Ace of Wands, it means you're kind of letting go. There's a new, fresh start to your actions. And this would be behavior and habits that were blocking you from your true self. So moving past that, start this fresh start, but also commitment. Hey, it's a lot of work. You might be lifting weights because we have this. You're holding on to something. Okay, now emotionally, this could be more of a burden. Life lessons, and quite a bit of them. But it's leading, and there's still this, okay, yeah, there's this, so there's a buildup of energy here. What we're seeing, we have a fresh start, create a fresh start, leading to some kind of like mental commitment, but then there's these mental unknowns and intuitive unknowns. You need to focus on your heart. What's your heart telling you? What's your gut telling you? If there's some conflict between like your heart and your mind, focus on where you are best suited and where you have the most impact, okay? Because we're leading to the Three of Pentacles. And this could be a situation where you are someone who's capable and really, you're important. You're really important. I mean, everyone is important, but there are places where you're better at things than others. And people rely on you for certain things. And focusing on that is going to be helpful, okay? That's going to be a place that you can kind of release this built up, pent up unknown of what to do. Kind of a question was like, well, what do I do with my life? What do I do with my life? Like, what am I doing? That kind of seems to be popping up. You're kind of thinking about past relationships and kind of feeling like, man, is this going to happen every time? Is there something wrong with me? No. We're all our own human relation to the world. What's happening here is something where you just haven't found your place, but you are committing to being the best you can be and putting progress into working for yourself, working towards yourself, improving yourself, which is beautiful. And finding where you have the most impact and where your specialized knowledge or your special just essence of yourself is most appreciated and most you get a response that shows that like people are grateful for your contribution. That's where this is leading. And that's going to be where you put your energy. Okay. So let's reveal these cards now that fell before. Letting go of something, healing. You're healing by letting go of something, and you're going to feel triumphant for having done so. You're going to feel proud of having taken that step. Beautiful. Okay. That's a little side note to this. Cool. Let's keep going. Okay. So, we're going to draw 5 more cards. We're going to draw from the top. And how are you feeling right now, group number 4? Let's take a look. Well, you're feeling rather assured that you're doing the right things, but you're not sure where to go next, maybe. There's some unknown in the mind. Meanwhile, there's a lot of conviction in the heart. It's kind of interesting. Maybe you're kind of going with your gut and your mind's kind of saying, like, rationally, this doesn't make sense. Okay, these guys are paired again. Interesting. Okay. You were emotionally in the past kind of fixated in one direction, and something new came in, allowing you to free yourself from the old habits and bring in new commitment and new conviction in what you're going to do next. Your new habits are going to be much more beneficial for you, and while they may take work and effort, like really working hard at the gym, physical exercise, stuff like that, it could just be starting and committing to that. Don't get too, don't go too hard. Like, start with where you are and you're moving forward, but you are feeling very strongly committed to this. Your mind, however, has some unknown element to it, but you're going to lead to mentally committing to this process, whatever it may be, because you're feeling this emotional change. I love seeing the chariot next to the high priestess. Oh man, I go on a rant with these two. I'll get to it in a second. But let's just see what the last card is first. Sun, beautiful. Okay, great. So in this case, this is a great progress. You have decided to put yourself in effort. I'm not going to say this is like, I mean, this could be a new chapter that you'll remember very fondly. I'm not going to say it's like the most giant world-changing event. This isn't like a fool's card popping out. This might be something you know how to do already, but you kind of let slide and now you're coming back to it. Whatever it may be, though, you have fresh motivation recently, and it's leading you to committing to it in a way where you're actually taking on the hard work. Now, it's fun to see the High Priestess with the Chariots, one of my favorite pairings, because you have, well, you can't really see it in this card, but in the traditional cards, there's the two pillars. So I will show you that from a traditional deck, just so you can see what I'm talking about. But essentially, High Priestess is as a immovable object hits infinite force, or I should say infinite force hits an immovable object. It's one of those two polar opposites kind of colliding, and now there's this like huge tension, there's pressure build up with the High Priestess, and where it's going to go is unknown. Your intuition is what's going to lead you down the right path towards the brighter future. You're going to know where to move this energy, but right now it's quite a build up. Yeah, here we go, we got the High Priestess here. Okay, so you have the moon, which is an indication of the unknown. High Priestess has the moon symbol, so there's this unknown nature to it. There's the needing to rely on intuition. You can see she's hiding this kind of scroll here. There's this unknown element, but then you can also see the two pillars, which are black and white. And here we have the two sphinx leading the charge of the chariot, which are also black and white. Now, what's going on here, seeing the High Priestess in you, meanwhile within there's this chariot, shows to me that right now you don't realize, or at least in the future you're not going to realize, there's going to be this feeling that there's so much pent up energy, but that's because it's already moving within you. You haven't acted on it yet, but you will act on it, and it will lead to a real sense of warmth inside and happiness, because you're going to find that place where you're the puzzle piece that goes right in place. It's going to go right in place because we have this pent up energy of the High Priestess that you're feeling, because within it's already moving, it's already flowing. Okay, it's already going forward. A lot of times our actions are kind of coming from a lot of work that's been done within without us being consciously aware. That's something I am learning more and more about each day. So with this, we have a happy situation coming in the future because we have this progress with the Pentacles. We have Seven of Pentacles. You see the farmer looking at his crop, and it's doing really well. You can kind of see how he's holding that. I believe that's a hoe, in a kind of confident way, where he's kind of stepping back and going, yeah, it's working out. And then you have Three of Pentacles, which could be a scholarly role, so you might be a student, but also a place where your role, you fit really well in it. And I'm not sure if this could be school for sure, but it might be more just where you fit in is the theme here. Okay, and right now you feel very confident. You feel very confident about the decisions you're making, at least emotionally. Intellectually, you're not sure about what the results are going to bring, but right now you're feeling pretty self-assured. And that's going to lead to feelings of warmth, of abundance, which, if they're in this position, will eventually rise out into your actions, where you really benefit others in a beautiful and harmonious way. There's harmony coming in, balance. Okay. And what's this hidden card? Let's see. Okay, so interesting. This might actually be, you might be a student. So we have um, this beautiful commitment to like action, like commitment to an action that's going to benefit you and is going to lead to like real powerful alignment and balance within yourself. And this is all coming from some idea. We had a creative spark here, and you're in command of like new ideas, new knowledge, new skill sets that are going to make you fit perfectly in a role of some sort. Friendships in the past or relationships in the past might have added some sense of self doubt, but now we're moving forward with commitment. We're seeing progress in the mind and in the heart. Beautiful, actually, real abundance in the heart. And this might be fits and starts a little bit with this idea, but you're going to find out how it works. Like, you're going to find how it works in a more confident way, and how you can really take hold of this idea, move it forward in a really grand way. Like, this is beautiful. You're going to find your place, and it's going to feel wonderful for you. Group number 4. I hope you're doing well. Please subscribe to me to see more of me in the future. I'll see you later. Take care.